We just wrapped up spending a month in Las Terrenas and had an absolutely wonderful time. In this video, what we want to share with you is everything that you need to know about this area, and ultimately the question everybody always has, what did it cost us to spend a month there?
We're also going to cover at the very end of this video a few pros and cons. Now, there are a lot of accommodations to be had, a lot of boutique hotels. You're not going to find the big resorts or the name brand hotels and motels, but you are going to find some long-term accommodations. They're going to serve you very well.
Yeah, there was a lot available, but yeah, a lot more smaller, not those big places that we first found when we were in the more resorty area. So what we stayed in, though, was a 3-bedroom villa, and it was in a really great area. It was a very nice place.
We had our own backyard.
We did. We had our own backyard. We had a patio.
A public pool that Carrie went to. I didn't venture to the pool much. I'm not much of a pool guy. That's how Carrie gets her workouts in. So we did have a pool.
We did, and when you say public, that I picture like kid public pool. Yeah. But anyways, it was public as far as for that area, and really majority of the time, probably 80% of the time, there was nobody else there. So it was really ideal. And inside of our accommodations, like we said, it was 3-bedroom. We had our kitchen, we had a living room and everything. It was a spacious place. Unfortunately, there were a lot of downsides to it. A lot of people always ask us for our accommodation listings. This is not a place we will be giving a recommendation to, so that listing will not be listed below, unfortunately.
It was adequate for us. It was just fine, but there were certain aspects of it that we could not give it any more than maybe a 3-star rating. We actually ended up leaving a week early, not because of the accommodation, but because we needed to for other reasons.
We'll cover those in the cons.
We'll cover those in the cons, yes. Now, the owner offered us $150 back because we were leaving early if we gave him a 5-star review. We turned down the $150. Yes. So that kind of gives you an idea of how we thought of the place.
Now, like we mentioned, there were a lot of different options available to you. So if you were looking for something in a budget range, there were plenty of things available in that $40 to $60 a night range. You really weren't getting a whole lot for that, but you were going to be there and you're near a beach.
If you want to up your game a little bit, staying somewhere a lot nicer, $80 to $150, you'll find something very adequate.
Now, one of the things to note about this area is there were not those big variety of all-inclusives that you might find in some of those other areas like we experienced in Punta Cana. So you will be getting those boutique hotels.
Right next to a beach. The beaches were fantastic. We're going to show some clip of some beaches right now that are right off the beaten path of these boutique hotels. So if you don't need the big resort, you can do this instead. So how much did we pay for our accommodations? The full 29 days, we paid $1,430.
Yeah, and you know, that was really affordable in comparison to our other stays in Dominican. And so, and we would also want to quickly add that the lower cost of that isn't why we had issues with the place. It was, you do get a lot more for your money there in comparison. Now, the other thing that you are going to pay for is the electricity when you are in Dominican Republic, pretty much on 95% of the places that you're staying in. And our electricity bill was actually not bad. It's cheaper in Las Terrenas, and so we only paid $60 for the month, and we did run the AC at night off and on.
Eating out options, there are plenty of options to be had. There's Mexican, there's Italian, there's French, there's Dominican. There's just about anything you can find. We had pizza once or twice. It was good pizza too.
It was actually very good pizza, yeah. You know, if you want to go to those more local restaurants or the food stall kind of restaurants, you are going to be paying about $8 to $10 a person. So you definitely are going to save in that area.
So a mid-range restaurant will cost you $12 to $25, and beers in a restaurant will cost you $3.50. And it's a little bit less if you go to the grocery store, but not so much.
No. One of the ways that we ended up, because we found that it was almost less sometimes to eat out than to buy our groceries. And so we would order in on the Komida app. And so that is an app that you absolutely will want to have because we will mention in a second as well about groceries. You can use it for that as well. Another thing to be aware of is when you are going out and eating, you are going to see service charges added as well as the tax, which tend to be a little high, 18% for the tax and 10% for a service charge. We noticed that those rates were sometimes not added on or a bit less in Las Terrenas.
So check your bill before you leave that tip.
Yeah.
Because you might be double tipping. Now, how much did we spend for the time we were there? We spent $285 in eating out.
One thing that we very much appreciated here was that there were multiple large grocery stores that you could choose to go to. They were really located right in town. Our place was a little bit out of town, but not far, so it was a mile walk to the grocery store.
Yeah, we'd strap our backpacks on our back and we would walk and fill them up and walk back. It was great exercise. Not something I'd want to do every day, so we did kind of have to be strategic in our grocery shopping. Now, I would say the grocery store was as good as any grocery store you're going to find where you're from. It was that nice.
It was very nice. The one area where we felt that it was lacking and inconsistent was meat and eggs. So there was not always a guarantee that you were going to find those things in stock.
Sometimes they'd run out of eggs.
They would run out of eggs,
Yes.
yeah. And this is where we also use that Komida app because it was quite a haul to get there. And so we would order some of the basics on the app and have those delivered. And it was really like a $2.50 charge to have it delivered,
Right.
so very affordable.
And about those eggs, you're paying about $2 for a dozen or 18.
It was 18 eggs.
18 eggs, $2, $1.70 for a gallon of milk. Coffee, I think I got coffee written down here someplace. $6.50 for a bag of coffee. So the prices across the board were pretty decent if you stay away from those name brand items. Get the local stuff and you save money.
Yeah, that is a tip that we would definitely give you is anywhere that you travel, figure out what those local items are, what is the produce that's the most local, what is the meats that they cook the most. And those are the things that you're going to be able to find affordable.
Yeah, chicken. Chicken was $3.50 a pound. So it's a good price
It was
as well.
cheap, yeah. And plantains, you could, that was a cheap one there. Plantains, rice, and beans. That was because that's their common food.
So typically we did breakfast and lunch at home. We ordered out for dinner. So for our grocery bill this time, we spent $240. Transportation on the island is very easy, and I thought that it was pretty inexpensive for what you get. From Santo Domingo, if you choose to fly in there and take a private transfer across, you're going to pay about $160. And that is for a private transfer.
Yes.
So that's a good deal.
There is also a more like local bus that you can take to do that trip, which would save you considerably. But there was kind of a lot of navigation involved in that, so to each their own.
Seemed like a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So, and if you want to get around by taxis, they were everywhere. That was going to average you about $1 to $3, taking into consideration that Las Terrenas is a very small little town. So if you're going to go well beyond that, then yes, you're going to pay more. But just to get around the general area wasn't much.
And they have Uber as well. We didn't use it, so we really can't speak about it. But if you choose to use your Uber app, it is available. Now, renting an ATV is a big deal there. People love to do it. They're all over the place. You can expect to spend $15 to $40 a day for your ATV.
Yeah, and then so our final cost for our transportation for the month, we actually never used any like Ubers or the scooters or anything like that. We did get a transfer coming from Punta Cana to Las Terrenas, and so that did cost us $307. So that was pretty steep, but it is the going rate, and boy, we would highly recommend the company that we went with. We used them twice, and they were wonderful.
Yeah, we have gotten questions from our Punta Cana video on what transportation service we use, so we will leave the link in the description below. Now, there are excursions available. Our excursion was the beach, and that was free. There is snorkeling, there's diving, there's paragliding, there's everything that you could expect, all kinds of stuff. Not as plentiful, not as often used as maybe in Punta Cana, but it is available if you choose to do it, and those prices can run across the board. We didn't take advantage of any of that.
Now, we also had additional just miscellaneous costs that we have every month that we're traveling. And the first one is our eSIM. We have a global eSIM that covers us wherever we land. And it is really the ideal way to go. It's very affordable and it only cost us $12 for the month for both of our phones.
The next item up for bid that we spent money on, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but we needed to load up on bug spray. We spent $28 while we were there just on bug spray alone.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I spent more on cigars than she spent on bug spray.
Yeah, that is very true. You did. Yeah.
We'll talk about the price I spent on
that's a
cigars as
positive.
well.
Now, medical and dental, we do carry travel insurance, and that cost us $280 for the month for the plan that we carry. We also found while we were there, they had 2 hospitals actually right in town. We walked by one every day that we would go to the grocery store. It looked very nice, and we actually looked online. I always look up how they're rated, where they're at, so we just kind of know. Looked up dental offices, but thankfully we didn't have to use them.
What you will have to use is a VPN if you want to access any of your banking, your Netflix, your Hulu, whatever you use. You're going to need to have a VPN. Check out that VPN at $4 a month. You can't beat it.
It's really so incredibly affordable that I can't believe we actually never had it even in the States. It just really kind of protects you, but the key element that it does is it gets you onto those things that you need to access. We would not have been able to access our banking. We ran into a lot of hiccups when we were in Dominican Republic trying to access certain sites. So it's a must.
Yep. Now, all these costs will be figured into the grand total of our time, except for my cigars. Not counting that in the total. I spent about $65 this month on the cigars I got. I found them a lot less expensive here than I did in Punta Cana, so that was nice.
They were a lot less, and there was a little store just right there in town. Once again, very convenient. When we were walking to the grocery store, he would stop in, and they were just sitting right there rolling them, which was actually a lot of fun to watch.
I get the local ones. I also tapered it down a little bit. I slowed my roll a little bit on the cigar smoking this month, so it was enjoyable.
So now some of the pros and the cons of the area. Any place we travel comes with both of these. The pros in this area were really amazing. The first one, the beaches. Absolutely gorgeous. The most beautiful turquoise blue water. Pristine, pretty much kind of felt like untouched beaches in areas.
They were practically deserted for the most part. I mean, sure there were some people, but not many. I'd go on my morning walks and I'd be alone most of the time. So that was pretty cool.
We also felt that this area really had such a authentic Dominican culture. You were kind of there with the locals more. It was really a nice change. We really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and the other best part about it, I think, was there was no saugerism. The seaweed that completely covers about every beach in that region of the world, except for where we were at. There are other places that it doesn't touch as well, but it was a nice surprise when we got up there and we didn't see any of it.
We also found this area to be very affordable. It was affordable to eat out. It was affordable to go grab a beer at the store. We just found in general there were more affordable options instead of maybe the fancier restaurants.
I just don't think it's as touristy oriented, so your prices are more local prices.
Okay, so now with the cons. There are a couple. The airport there is a much smaller airport. So if you do choose to fly into, I think it's called the Samana Airport, that one you're going to pay quite a bit to fly into or out of, and the flights were incredibly limited.
Now, if being in the big resort is your thing, you're not going to find that here. You're going to find the boutique hotels like we commented about earlier. And there's also a road that stretches across between all the hotels and the beach itself. It can get quite noisy.
It was very noisy.
All those ATVs we were talking about, motorcycles, it's very noisy.
Yeah, so situate yourself. That was one advantage to the place we stayed, is we were off the road and down kind of a road a ways. So we didn't hear the main road, but yeah, it is noisy. Now, like we mentioned earlier, one of the reasons, and actually the reason that we did leave a bit early, was the bug situation. It just really is out of control. There's a lot of them, every imaginable kind. We are not complaining as far as don't go to this area. It is really just comes down to it's a tropical area and they just have a lot of bugs.
The next thing that we're really working on is our Spanish. We do try to communicate.
He's working on
I'm
English.
working on English too. Communicate the best we can in Spanish. And if you need to brush up on your Spanish, do it before you go, because there's not a whole lot of English spoken there.
Yeah, that was very true. We did find that Google Translate helped where we needed
Yes.
it. Now, the other area that was a con was the Wi-Fi and the power really go out, in and out, all day long. We were in and out of Wi-Fi for every day, multiple times a day. Granted, it did come on usually within the next, I don't know, 20 minutes or so.
Yes.
But if you rely on Wi-Fi for, say, any kind of business or anything, it was a little frustrating.
A little bit frustrating. You know, when we had it, it was good, but it would go out. So when you're trying to do YouTube videos, it can be annoying.
So what did it end up costing us for 29 days? Like we said, we left a little bit early, but this is covering that whole time. It cost us $2,646, which really ended up being a pretty affordable month for us.
Yeah, and we could have gotten $150 back,
We don't play that game.
but we don't play that game. No 5-star review for you. We thought it was very affordable. We did have a good time, and as a memory, we will look back on, and we will
Gorgeous
appreciate
area.
it. It's a gorgeous area. The bugs got to us.
Yeah. So if you are looking for a place to go that is a little more off the beaten path, not your touristy place, we would highly recommend this area.
Now, if this is your first time joining us, we do have 2 other videos of Las Terrenas and Punta Cana. So check those videos out. We appreciate you watching. We really do. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.